Hey there, so today we have another review, homebrew review from Wonderment Brewing, and this is a Belgian dark strong ale. So pretty good, because I think most recently I did a blind beer, blind beers, including Chimay Premier, and so yeah, this should be in that range. Pretty big, 10% actually. So let's talk about stats on this guy. We're talking about stats. Style comes in at 8 to 12%, really that big, 12%. I didn't really realize it went that big. It's 10%, IBUs 20 to 35, SRM 12 to 22, so decent range on the color. Yeah, I mean, commercial examples, I've seen them, Boulevard 6 Glass, Chimay Grand Reserve, Guten Carolus, Rochefort 8 and 10, St. Bernard's 12, and the Westie 12, the famous one. Hard thing about the style is that it's A, quite distinct, and B, at least for homebrew, I find that, or just the style in general, it's hard. I mean, the style is bottle conditioned, but to get the carb on, the style, I can't imagine it's easy. I mean, I guess you can bottle condition it to that volume CO2. I would say that this doesn't really show up in that. The carb just doesn't seem quite there. And we'll see. But hey, how about this? We'll do this, and then we'll see his notes. So what do we show on, so overall impression, this is a dark, complex, very strong Belgian beer, blend of maltiness, dark fruit notes, spicy elements, complex, rich, smooth, dangerous. Literally all the words you use. On the nose. I get a nice kind of like bready, just like yeasty character. It smells like, dough and bread and all that. A little bit of fruitiness, a little bit of apple ester in there, stewed pear, but it's mostly that kind of just like nice kind of biscuity maltiness. Yeah, that's a breadiness I'm talking. It's like biscuity note. This is biscuity for days. Yeah, so what did they say? It has a rich, sweet, malty presence, complex, significant esters and alcohol. I sort of lack those. Optional light, moderate spiciness. Malts is rich and strong, deep, bready, tasty notes. The toasty notes, I get that. Deep caramel complexity, not really quite there. Fruity esters are strong to moderately low. Yeah, so it's in that range. And that includes esters of raisin, plum, dried fig, dried cherry, fig, prune. Spicy phenols present, usually of peppery quality, not clove-like, light vanilla possible. I can maybe see that vanilla. Alcohols are soft and spicy, perfumey, rose-like. I can maybe get some full elements to this. Hops are not usually present. No dark roast malt. Okay. Appearance, by the way. This is a deep amber to deep coppery brown color. This is deep amber. Let's go with deep amber. So lighter on the impression of what the style goes with. It says huge, dense, mousy, persistent cream to light tan colored head. Can be clear and somewhat hazy. Clarity on this is light haze on it. Actually, it's not completely clear. I can definitely see through it, but not completely clear. And then it has a decent head. Flavor. Okay. So this does not taste like a Belgian dark strong. I'd have a really hard time figuring out what this tastes like. It's a deep, again, it's in the range of beers that people can get confused with, and I get confused with too. It's malty, elevated alcohol, 10% super sneaky, and it's malty. And so malty, you can go to Scotland, you can go to UK, you can go to, you can go to Germany, you can go to Belgium, you can go to US, maybe. US is going to be hoppy. Like this, anything this elevated alcohol in this color is probably be something in the range of a strong ale or barley wine or something. Or even then, people get confused with like really subtle, like red IPA. It honestly has these strange flavor characteristics that taste American, like sort of an amber ale. There's this like strange crystal malt character that comes in. Style-wise, I mean, I would say this is just definitely not there. I mean, how do I describe before I talk about the comparisons. This is mostly dominated by crystal malt. It's super sneaky. I couldn't imagine spirit is 10%. I mean, it's crazy. Lacks the ester profile, lacks complexity in the sense of ester, phenol, and malt complexity. The yeast just doesn't thrive in this. This is like almost no yeast character, given it honestly has more of this kind of British character where it's got this like light appley ester. So a lot of those yeasts can be slightly ester forward, elevate alcohol, has a crystal malt there, and then it dries out with a little bit of bitterness. So like that dryness, I don't know if it's from attenuation, but it doesn't seem like the beer is actually that dry, is it? Yeah, maybe the beer is actually just that dry and that hides the alcohol, but a little bit hop bitterness. Honestly, like a full blind, this would be like a not super hoppy British ale. So like where are we going at? Not quite strong bitter. I don't know. British strong ale? Something like that. I don't know. In that range. Definitely in that range. The closest thing I think of is like something like British strong ale or wee heavy. Yeah, that's probably the closest thing. Definitely. I mean, again, those wee heavies should be somewhat close to, or at least like, in confusion to Belgian dark strong, but definitely not British strong ale. And this is definitely in that range. It just doesn't have the carbonation. Again, like you're lacking, let's go through it. Similar hop to similar aroma, flavor is similar to aroma. So it doesn't have the malt character that's necessary. Ester, phenol, no. Alcohol, no. Hop, a little bit, moderate malty on the malty rich on the palate. Moderately dry to dry finish. It dries out pretty nicely. Moderate low to moderate bitterness. Okay. Provides some balance to the malt, but it's not that generally malt rich balance. Okay, it's malt rich balance, but it lacks all the complex and varied flavors. Should blend in smoothly and harmoniously. It doesn't do that. It doesn't have these complexities to it. Finish should not be heavy or syrupy. Fine. High carbonation, not sharp, smooth, noticeable alcohol. Doesn't do any of that. Body can be medium light to medium full. That's a big range, and creamy. Okay. Most are medium bodied. This is medium bodied. Fine. Yeah, it just, again, you can read the BJCP and describe all these beautiful things about the beer, but it doesn't really quite hit what a Belgian dark strong ale tastes like. I think a lot of BJCP judges, and actually when we're studying, we talked about this, and sort of the BJCP can sort of tell you these things, but until you try it commercially, you can't really like rate or grade a beer commercially, because like these are the commercial examples and you need to taste those and have those flavor memories. And so you can like sort of, I think you could actually read through the BJCP, drink this beer, have a decent kind of rating on this, but no, this tastes nothing like a Belgian dark strong. No, I mean, it honestly has a lot of characteristics like a British ale. Like, I mean, unless he packaged me something wrong, like like, I don't know. Hey man, I'm trying to give you feedback, and I'm sorry that I'm criticizing the beer so much, but it is vastly different beer. I'm very curious about what kind of processes you use, because, okay, so we have to talk about processes here. So it should be a Belgian yeast strain, which really like high alcohol, like like characteristics. We're talking about esters, phenolics. It has a impression of a complex grain bill, though it used caramelized candy sugar and unrefined sugars to create that complexity. So the beer is chaptalized, which is a wine term to add sugar to elevate the alcohol, and you get an elevated alcohol, and like the dryness comes from that. So that works, but hops, by the way, Sauser, English types here in Goldings, spices generally not used, blah, blah. So yeah, it just tastes like a British ale. How to capture that carbonation and the phenolics and the esters is really the secret to brewing a great example of this beer. Let's compare what he says about it. Pretty standard, blah, blah. He used Belgian candy syrup 180 SRM to get dark fruit notes, fermented fairly high, blah, blah. He didn't go super hard with the carbonation. I personally don't like Belgian beers with these champagne levels of carbonation. So this should be normal ale carbonation. I mean, that's fine. I don't know what his goal is, but in competition, you're definitely going to fail in that. And for me, that's sort of one thing that makes Belgian beer great. You have a wide range of beers, and like Belgium's with a handful of or a bunch of styles sort of separate themselves with that kind of like bright carbonation. And I'm honestly, for me, that makes it great because it's easier to sort of study for these beers because they sort of separate themselves. But they also make the beers sort of like have more levity along with their dryness. The carbonation just like, helps it. For me, yeah, I don't think double or triple or Belgian Dark Strong or especially Belgian Golden Strong Ale, Duvel, which is like one of the highest. I don't think any of those styles sort of like do well with lower levels of carbonation. So I'd recommend fixing that, but also just like you probably have to go back to the drawing board or something. It just doesn't have like the characteristics. Like if it doesn't, I mean, I'm mixing idioms here, but if it doesn't look like a cat, it's not a cat. And tastes like a British ale. It's tasty, but very good stuff. Let's go with a 83. 83 on this guy. Yeah, it's just in general lacking a little bit of character, but it's quite drinkable and quite tasty. So thank you so much. And thank you. Wonderment Brewing. Cool stuff. Really fun going through the BGCP for you guys. And, I learn it when I read it. So thank you. Later.